How's it going, DeFi Deluxers, and welcome back to another episode of DeFi Deluxe. Thank you for joining me today. I've got a lot of alpha for you this week. First up, we have the XToken, which I talked about in my last video. Check out the price action of XTK on CoinGecko. It has almost tripled in the time since I have mentioned it. Here's the 14-day window here. It spiked dramatically, partially, I think, because of this announcement right here. XToken made an exciting announcement 6 days ago about Xu3 Lp, which will be a fungible, convenient liquidity provision for Uniswap v3. So just a little background, the interesting thing about Uniswap v3 is that they have come out with a new mechanism called concentrated liquidity, and it gives individual LPs what they say is more granular control over what price ranges their capital is allocated to. Now, it is going to change it a little bit. It's not going to be as set and forget as LPing was for Uniswap and Balancer, etc. Some are even predicting that this new technology is going to possibly even make all of the current AMMs outdated. That's partly because it's going to provide a 4,000 times capital efficiency relative to Uniswap v2, because with concentrated liquidity, you are only LPing for a certain price range, which is effectively putting a stop loss on your capital when it hits a certain part in the curve, depending on where you are trading it. So long story short, it's not exactly going to solve impermanent loss, but it puts a nice little damper on impermanent loss. Now, because of that, like I said, it's not going to be as set and forget, because it's going to be considered active liquidity. So what that means is that provides an opportunity for third-party service providers such as XToken, which is around to make yield farming easier. So they already are technically a service provider, right? They provide a front end that makes it way easier to yield farm. So with U3 Lp, they're going to offer a better way to set it and forget it, and allow XToken governance the ability to allocate that money where it needs to go and create effective management, essentially, of the LP's money. So really cool idea, really cool token, and it's still our opportunity of the week because of the high APRs. Look at these APRs. They have not gone down all that much since my last video 2 weeks ago. Still great farming opportunities here. Next, I want to talk about Liquity Token, as it's an interesting, novel idea. It's interest-free loans, so you can borrow their stable token LUSD against your ETH at 0% interest. It's got a low collateralization ratio, and it's an interesting protocol because they are governance free. So they don't have any governance. It's entirely algorithmic. They don't call Liquity a governance token. It's more of an active management token, because by holding LQTY, however you pronounce it, and staking it, you're going to actually earn fees generated from the protocol. So it's a bit like Yearn in that respect. So that alone is interesting in itself, but the interest-free borrowing mechanism is, I could see, coming in handy for lots of unique things. This protocol is going to be able to offer some services that other protocols can't because of the 0% interest. Another interesting thing is they don't run their own front ends. So unlike most protocols that make their own front end website on AWS or Google Cloud, they actually leave this in the hands of the community. So you can become a front-end operator, although there already are a few. Liquidy.app is probably the most popular one, and Xerion, the asset manager, is also allowing control over your Liquity funds. So if you're interested, you have a couple choices here. You can mint LUSD with your ETH or LQTY, and then deposit it into this stability pool, which helps keep LUSD stable. The APY for that is currently around 200%. Down here, you can see I'm actually staking just LQTY token. I'm earning part of the fees in LUSD. So you can see here I've already earned $33, and I've had this in for maybe 24 hours. So that's a pretty good reward. They don't have the APY on here for just staking, and I'm not sure why. Another interesting thing to note is the kickback rate, which for Liquidy.app is 99%, and what that means is that the rate is set by the front-end operator. This will be a fraction that's paid out as a kickback to us for using their front end. So that's pretty handy. You can also just do the traditional liquidity mining on their farm page here, and the yield is currently around 46%. Next up, I want to talk about Ruler. Ruler is another really interesting mechanism where they're actually offering non-liquidatable loans. Imagine if you could somehow combine Ruler with Liquity, non-liquidatable loans with a 0% interest rate. I could see that happening somehow because all parts of DeFi on Ethereum are composable. Ruler has a bit bigger market cap than Liquity, but it's still pretty low at around 12.5 million. As you can see, the price is pretty high because the circulating supply is only 35,000 and there's only a max of 1 million. This protocol was made by the makers of Cover Protocol, so there's some pretty big names behind this. Perhaps maybe not big, but DeFi veterans. And the price here had a real bad dump during the discovery phase of this launch, but over time you can see it's leveled way out, and so I think this may be a good entry-level price. It is pretty volatile, even over 24 hours, as you can see, but a lot of potential for this token, and a lot of people are talking about this on Twitter. Check out some of Gabriel Haynes' recent videos on YouTube to see how to use the protocol. He says it's one of his favorite projects to emerge over the last few months. David Hoffman of Bankless has pointed out that it's a cool thing to do because you can take out the USDC as a tax-free loan and the loan will pay itself back over time, meaning you don't even have to pay it back once the lockup is complete. So it's a pretty cool idea, and the app is already out. It's decentralized, there's no KYC required. This one does have governance and, of course, calls the token completely valueless. It's an all-anon team, so be careful and do your own research with this, but I think this might be a good one. And the last one I got for you is Hop Protocol. This one has not yet launched, but it is aiming to be a hub for all layer 2s to be able to swap tokens, which is really cool. They are some of the makers of Ethereum, and they are now pivoting to make a scalable token bridge. This is going to be really cool as automated market makers will be able to swap through it, as well as the Hop exchange. And the Hop contracts are currently being audited and planning to go live in April. As you can see, they're launching on Optimism, XToken, Polygon, and Arbitrum at first, and then they're aiming to add even more support for other blockchains as well. This is going to be really cool and hopefully save a lot on gas fees once it's finally rolling, because you'll be able to stay on layer 2 and just swap back and forth between apps that are using different protocols. Different dApps are going to be using different things like optimistic rollups or ZK snarks, whatever they choose. We're going to need some protocols to be able to swap quickly back and forth between the two. And I think this is going to be a great example of that. So watch out for a governance token from these guys coming out soon. That's all I got for you, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. And please remember, this is not financial advice. Do not use more than you can lose. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below and hit the bell to be notified whenever I make a video. And I will see you on the other side.